Good day, welcome to Flip TV News. My name is Tolulope. Nafdac rakes in 2.5 billion naira from Lagos, Onitsha, Aba drug market trade. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Nafdac, has disclosed that it generated 2.5 billion naira from its recent clampdown on illicit drug markets in Lagos, Onitsha, and Aba. Director General of the agency, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, who revealed this during a session before the House of Representatives Committee on Food and Drug Administration and Control, said the funds were fines collected from traders found guilty of selling fake or substandard drugs during recent enforcement actions in open markets across the country. While stressing that all funds were paid directly into Nafdac's official account, she noted that 996 million naira was spent on enforcement operations, 159 million naira was borrowed from a donor grant, and 1.175 billion naira went to regulatory expenses. According to her, the agency was left with about 206 million after deductions. She said the operation, which deployed over 1,300 security personnel, uncovered widespread violations ranging from expired and unapproved drugs to poor storage practices. The charges collected were paid directly into a Nafdac account. The total amount was about 2.5 billion naira, roughly 2.537 billion naira. For the operation in the three markets, Lagos, Onitsha, and Aba, about 996 million naira was spent. We had to borrow 159 million naira from an existing grant because we didn't have funds. In addition, regulatory expenses amounted to 1.175 billion naira. So out of the 2.537 billion naira, we have only about 207 million naira left in the account, she said. Adeyeye said the enforcement drive, which lasted up to 4 weeks in some locations, uncovered serious threats to public health. She disclosed that some shop owners were caught distributing banned substances like Tramadol and selling expired or unregistered medicines. These charges were not punitive but necessary. The standard fine for violating good distribution and storage practice is 2 million naira, but in many cases, we reduced it to 500,000 naira, she said. She, however, lamented that the agency's inability to sustain such critical operations is being crippled by severe revenue restrictions imposed by the federal government. While decrying the financial constraints facing the agency, Adeyeye explained that at the end of 2023, Nafdac had 19 billion naira in its account. The Director General, however, noted that 9 billion naira was removed before the agency could access it, and only 4.5 billion naira was eventually released. Thank you for listening to Flip TV News. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
The Committee on Food and Drug Administration, chaired by Benue State member Regina Akume, is investigating Nafdac over its recent raids across drug markets nationwide. The committee says it is in receipt of petitions alleging extortion and high-handedness by the agency. The agency opens up on how its bank account with 19 billion naira meant for state projects was frozen by the Federal Ministry of Finance at the end of 2023.
We had 19 billion in our account. These are for projects. If you are building state offices, you don't give the money one time. These are for projects that were ongoing. And they closed that account at the end of 2023 without us having access to it.
Nafdac says it realized 2.5 billion naira from the raids and that the funds were fines collected from traders found guilty of selling fake or substandard drugs during recent enforcement actions. The agency deployed over 1,300 security personnel for the raids and says it uncovered widespread violations ranging from expired and unapproved drugs to poor storage practices. The DJ says all funds were paid directly into Nafdac's official account. Nafdac spent 159 million naira borrowed from a donor grant and 1.17 billion naira went to regulatory expenses, leaving a balance of 206 million naira. The Nafdac DG said the enforcement drive, which lasted up to 4 weeks in some locations, uncovered serious threats to public health.
2.5 billion. Those was the total from the investigative charges. For the operation in the three markets, 996 million naira approximately was spent.
The committee is not happy that the agency allegedly failed to acknowledge its intervention in securing funds for its operations.
We want to see how much have you put it into the bank? What were you collecting? How much put into the bank? How much have you withdrawn? What have you used the money to do? These are the things we want to know. Because if there are lapses, like when she cried and came to us that they will only have 4-point-something billion, we wrote that the money was paid and nobody's told us anything about it.
Nafdac is to provide a detailed breakdown of the revenue generated from each location where fines were collected during the enforcement operations to the committee.